Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, Shows World.
Welcome to Shows World Gamers, Josh here, and it is once again that time of the week. As this week draws to a close, I wanted to take a moment to look at, well, some of the biggest video game news from this past week. We're also going to take a look at some gaming announcements that took place this week, and of course, we'll take a look at the biggest video game releases from this week. But do me a quick favor, if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join in on the fun. Alright gamers, as always, let's start off with this week's video game news stories. And this week, well, we had a pretty big birthday in gaming. That's right, the Nintendo Switch. It turned 8 years old this week, and that is absolutely crazy that this system is now 8 years old. That's right, the Nintendo Switch launched all the way back on March 3rd of 2017, and 8 years later, it's still going strong. But we are preparing for its successor later this year with the Switch 2. But is the Switch the greatest Nintendo console of all time? I've always leaned towards the Super Nintendo, but man, looking back on this last 8 years, I think the Switch may have taken that spot for me. Now, in a surprising move by Nintendo regarding the Nintendo Switch Online service, for the first time, they are removing a game from the service. The game is Super Soccer, which can be found in the Super Nintendo library of games. All versions, including the US and Japanese versions, and, well, the rest of the world. All the versions of the game are being removed at the end of March. So if you like the game, if you want to play it, I guess we have till the end of March to play it. I'm not the biggest fan of the game. It's not very good. But this has created quite the stir online, with many gamers sharing their frustration at the move and worry for what this could mean for the service in the future. Alright gamers, next up, let's take a look at some gaming announcements from this week. Now, we did get the reveal trailer for the upcoming Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 that we discussed last week, and well, the game looks awesome, with all the skateboarding fun that made this franchise a must play. The game is scheduled to release on July 11th of this year, so we actually don't have to wait too long. Now, it is coming to the Nintendo Switch and presumably Switch 2, even if there isn't a Switch 2 version. It's backwards compatible. We've discussed this before, so you'll be able to play it on the Switch 2. Also, PlayStation consoles, it's coming to PC and Xbox systems, but if you got an Xbox, I got some good news for you. This is actually going to be a day one release on Game Pass, and I'm definitely going to be playing this. I'm a huge fan of these games, and hey, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake was awesome, and I expect the same thing out of 3 and 4. Now, Elusive also received an announcement trailer showing off a really promising looking platformer that looks to switch back and forth between a 3D world and 2D platforming areas. In the game, you play as Zoe, a young raider in search of adventure and treasure in the giant world of humans. The game is coming soon to Kickstarter. No release date or what consoles it will be on have been announced, but this game, it looks really good. It looks really promising. I'm definitely going to keep this on my radar. Now, Absalom received an announcement trailer this week. The game has, well, a really cool looking art style, and it is a roguelite side-scrolling beat-em-up from the makers of the Streets of Rage 4 game, which I really enjoyed playing through that. The game looks to build on the arcade-style combat with spells, counters, and upgradable abilities across an array of handcrafted stages and roguelite mechanics. Now, Terminator 2D No Fate received an announcement trailer, with the game scheduled to release on the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox Series systems on September 25th. The game is an officially licensed 2D side-scrolling game with arcade-style action, gameplay, and from what we have seen, it has many of the iconic scenes from the Terminator 2 movie, and this looks like a lot of fun. If you're a fan of classic side-scrolling arcade games, definitely keep this on your radar for this fall. Also, Gex Trilogy received an announcement trailer, bringing the first 3 games in the series to the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. The compilation of games includes the original 2D platformer Gex and the 2 3D sequels, Gex Enter the Gecko and Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. I have fond memories of the series, and I look forward to checking out Gex 1, as I think the last time I played that was all the way back on the 3DO. It was kind of the big platforming character for that console, and probably the best game that came out on it. Alright gamers, let's finish up with this week's new video game releases. Now, Split Fiction was the big release this week. It released on the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. This is the newest game from the creators of the hit indie game It Takes Two. This game also is a two-player co-op game. This time you play as two writers, one sci-fi and the other fantasy. You end up stuck in the worlds of your stories and have to work together playing through alternating levels from the two genres as you attempt to escape back to the real world. Now, Morcall, Ragast's Rage, released this week on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox Series systems. Don't sleep on this game. The game is a 2D platformer, Metroidvania style game where you actually play as, well, you play as the bad guy. That's right, you take control of Morcall, God of Death and Darkness, and Lord of the Ragast. The game is a lot of fun, with Morcall breaking the fourth wall, which allows him to communicate with you in a multitude of ways. We played the game here on the channel, and I will link that video at the end of this one. I had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, don't sleep on this one. This might be one of the best indie games of the year. Now, Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster released this week on the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. The role-playing game remasters include upgraded visuals, new environmental sounds, the HD battle sound effects. It also features new gameplay mechanics like autosave, battle fast forward, and an auto battle button. And these are classic, huge RPGs. You're definitely going to get your money out of these ones because you're going to be playing for quite a while, and they're fantastic games. Now, 2 Point Museum also released this week on the PlayStation 5, the PC, and Xbox Series systems. The game is a business simulation style game that allows you to manage a museum where you splash paint and lay carpet as you lovingly arrange each prehistoric fern, potentially melting Iceman, and dinosaur remains. As you design the layout, you have to keep the staff happy, keep guests entertained, and hey, you got to keep those children off of those exhibits. I'm not the biggest fan of the 2 Point games. I played a little bit of a couple of them, but I gotta say this one is really looking good, and I might have to jump in and check this one out. Now, Carmen Sandiego released this week on the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. In the game, you will take control of the iconic vigilante herself, Carmen Sandiego, as she sneaks around and kind of acts shady as she hunts down notorious criminals worldwide in an action-packed adventure. And I mean, this is one of the most iconic franchises ever. If you're old like me, you'll probably remember playing the crappy PC version in school back in the day. But Carmen Sandiego, I might have to check this one out too, just for nostalgia purposes. Alright gamers, that concludes the week in review for the week ending on March 7th. The week started with Pokemon Legends ZA taking a lot of heat online for the far than less impressive visuals, which has many worried the game is going to release in a rough state, loaded with glitches and issues, kind of like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet did back in 2022. I hope not, but I'm a little worried about that also. Then word came out that Monster Hunter Wilds is off to an absolutely huge start. It has already surpassed 8 million copies sold, and that was within the first 3 days of the release. This game is definitely going to be a huge game this year, and I think it's going to be in discussions at the end of the year for Game of the Year. And this week ended with Split Fiction review scores triggering talks of the game also being in the Game of the Year discussions, with an impressive Metacritic score, as at its current score, it is actually the highest rated Game of the Year. Who'd have thunk? But I'm looking forward to jumping in and playing that with my son. We played It Takes Two together, and we really enjoyed that, and I think this looks even better. But let me know anything we may have missed in the comments, and I want to thank you for joining us today on this video. Do me a favor, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and we hope to see you on the next one. Shoge World, out.